Hey guys, Jesse Lavelle, welcome back to my channel. If you're like me and you use one of the Tamron telephoto lenses and you've been curious about using one of their extenders, then stay tuned and we're going to find out if it's worth it. Now, the first thing that you want to be aware of if you're going to be using the 2x extender is what are the aperture ranges that you're going to have available now. Now, when you attach this to the 100 to 400 millimeter lens like I have, you now have a focal length of 200 to 800 millimeters. If you are at the widest end where you're at 200 millimeters, you're going to have f9 available to you. And if you zoom all the way out to 800 millimeters, then you're going to have f13. So right off the bat, you're going to have severe limitations to your light that's going to be available to your sensor, which means your ISO is going to have to go a lot higher. And in my experience, you need a lot of light to be shooting at f13. Now, you can get around things by like using a monopod, using a tripod, trying to use slower shutter speeds. But again, that's not going to cut the mustard if the bird's in flight or moving. So this is kind of really better and more applicable for really getting that extra reach and trying to get something that might be more of a still subject. But if you're thinking that you can attach this and really actively shoot birds in flight, it really isn't gonna fit the bill for you, unfortunately. It's what I wanted, and I was disappointed when I got it. The next thing you wanna take into account is what is gonna be the loss in image quality when you attach something like a 2x extender. Now, I noticed that there is a noticeable loss in sharpness and a noticeable increase in chromatic aberration. So, two undesirable things. Now, unfortunately, I do feel like the loss in sharpness is significant enough that I don't usually feel like I'm happy with the end results that I'm taking with it. So unfortunately, I really don't use this that often. Now, I don't want to like completely trash it. I'm not saying it's like horrendous. It's just not where I would like to be in image quality. So for me, I really wasn't happy with where it took me with image quality. Another thing that you want to think about is what is autofocus going to be like when you're using this. Now, it does work, even at f13, the autofocus does work, but it's unreliable. And for me, I've had a number of times where I've had birds in flight, I've tried to lock on, and the autofocus just straight up failed me. And it's just a super disappointment when you're shooting wildlife, and that happens. So, unfortunately, when it comes to this, it's most definitely the least used piece of kit that I own, for sure. So guys, well, I do still like having this little piece of kit. I do like having it, you know, it's nice, it looks nice, it feels nice, it's water sealed, and it works like they say it does, but there are just those factors that I've talked about earlier in the video that you have to take into account, right? There's the loss of sharpness, increase to chromatic aberration, loss in reliability to your autofocus, and then the severe loss in light that comes to going to f13. So these are all things that you want to be aware of that you're going to have to work around if you do plan to buy the Tamron 2x extender. Now personally, being somebody that's owned this for a couple of years, and if you were my friend and you came to me and you said, hey Jesse, I have the Tamron lens, I'm thinking about getting the extender, do you think it's worth it? Personally, I would unfortunately tell you, no, I don't think it's worth it. You could try the 1.4 and you may have better results than I did with the 2x extender, but unfortunately for me, it's definitely the least used piece of kit that I own. Guys, I hope that this helped you a little bit. If it did, do think about going below, subscribing, clicking my notification bell, and I'll see you guys on my next video.